Hello everybody, Ghostblade 1062 here with another rolling stock review. Today we will be looking at a Piko Expert Line Deutsche Bahn T3000e articulated well car that is loaded with a DB Schenker trailer and a Maersk 40-foot container. And now let's move on to the unboxing. Alright, taking a look at the box, we get our first view of the car, trailer, and container through the clear plastic front window. In the bottom center, we have the Expert Line logo with the Piko logo in the top right. The top, back, and right sides of the box don't have any relevant information. However, on the bottom, we have the Piko contact information, as well as age restriction warning. And then on the left side of the box here, we have the product barcode, followed by the item number, which is 24619. It is a T3000e articulated well car with a DB Schenker trailer and a Maersk container. It is an Era 6 car, so 2007 to present. And it is road number 49938117. And then we have a line drawing of the car itself. Now, opening up the box, it is sealed on the bottom here. And it's vacuum sealed itself. There we go. Here we have the two-piece plastic cradle that the car, trailer, and container are sitting in. On the back, we have some spare detail parts, including another hitch for trailers, as well as more container supports. Also included, we have the typical Piko advertisement booklet, and an instruction manual that tells us how to load containers and trailers. This also contains a list of spare parts. And now, opening up the cradle. First, we have our DB Schenker trailer. Then we have our Maersk container. And finally, we have our articulated well car. And next, we can move on to the detail overview section of the video. Time to take a closer look at the car and load. Starting with the trailer. At the front of the trailer, we have our two panels for warning labels, as well as some reflective markings. But aside from that, we only have a little bit of frame detailing. Moving on to the side, we have the trailer number here, which is SCNA, 0016-104. And then we have our some warning labels and reflective striping along the bottom. We have the DB Schenker logo along the back half of the trailer. On the underside of the trailer here, we have our side skirts, which is separately fitted. And if we catch it at the right angle, we can see some slight paneling detailing, though it is very inconspicuous. And running my finger over it, it's hardly noticeable. On the back of the trailer, near the top, we have our DB Schenker logo again, with the website not far beneath that. And then we have our reflective striping and warning paneling. And turning it to catch the right angle, we can see the hinge detailing as well as some detailing for the door locking mechanism. But it's not very visible. Moving on to the bumper, we have molded detailing for the tail lights on the bumper here. And the other side of the trailer doesn't offer any more detailing from the rest. Other than some paneling detailing, the top doesn't offer any additional detail. However, on the bottom we do have some detailing. Molded into the frame, we have our spare wheel, as well as our air reservoir for the air brake system. And we also have our frame detailing, both for crossbeams and the long main body support. We also have our landing gear detailing here, which is in the up position. And we have our locking pin for connecting to the car or a truck. Now, moving on to the container itself. On the front of the container here, we have the container ID, this one being MSKU 93428704561. And we have painted on corrugation detailing here. Then on the side, we have the Maersk logo covering most of the side of the trailer, with, again, the corrugation detailing and the container ID. The same is on the other side. The top just has the corrugation detailing, and we have 4 pinholes for additional containers to be stacked on top. Whereas on the bottom, we have the pins visible for stacking. And now onto the rear of the container. We have molded in latching detailing, as well as the painted on corrugation detail. We have our capacity information, which is nice and legible. We have the Maersk website painted on nice and legible, and again the container number. Though I honestly don't see why it couldn't have just been molded with the corrugation detailing rather than being painted on. But that's just my opinion. And now onto the car itself. Starting at the trailer end here, we have above the coupler between the buffers, we have our hitch, our coupling hook. Then underneath the buffers, we have separately fitted grab irons, which are painted a bright yellow. We also off to the left side here have a step to climb up onto the car with a separately fitted handrail which is in a folded down position. Moving on to the side, we have our separately fitted hook for cranes for re-railing and lifting the car. As well as our printed on, we have nice and legible length and capacity information for the car. Clipped on the side, along the side, are also these hooks, which can be folded up for loading containers. And here, towards the center of the first section, we have the road number. The full 12-digit road number is 31804993-811-7. And here we have the DB reporting marks. Then a bit further we have our capacity information. Moving on towards the center of the whole car, we have steps going up on either side of the center truck with a see-through corrugated plastic walkway in the middle, over the connection of the two cars. And moving on, we have some piping detailing under... Hold on. There we go. We have some piping detailing underneath here for the brake lines. And again, at the center, we have the DB reporting marks and our capacity and length information towards the end. Underneath here, we also have a reservoir for the air brakes. And again, we have our step, which on this car is actually warped, and our grab irons. And now, turning the car around, there we go. I just straightened out the step. We again have our grab irons underneath the buffers. We have the coupling hook just above the coupler again as well. And moving along this side, we again have our car length information, our road number, and reporting marks. We have our capacity information. We do see our airline detailing on here and now on this side as well, more so than the other side. The underside of the car doesn't offer any additional detailing, but looking at it from the top, on this end here, this being the end that is already set up for the container, we have our area for attaching the additional coupling pin for the trailer, as well as we have our slots for the containers to hook into, with the additional ones being able to fold up. For the different sizes of containers, that being the ability to load the 40-footers, the 20-foot containers, as well as trailers, making this a versatile car. And this covers the detail overview section of the video. So next, we will move on to the rip track segment. Alright, time for the rip track segment of the video. To start with, we are going to verify the wheel gauge on the car with the NMRA standards gauge. Starting with the first axle, we are engaged, but we have some very deep flanges. Axle 2, engage. Axle 3 is engage, as is axle 4. Axle 5 is good. And axle 6. Alright, so all of our axles are engaged, though they have very deep flanges. So now we'll move on to the next part, which is swapping the couplers over to knuckle couplers. Coupler 1 is out. And the new coupler in. Coupler out. And new coupler in. Now all that's left is to verify the coupler height. First, we'll start with getting the car onto the track properly so that we can get a proper height reading. There we go. Alright, time for the first coupler. And our coupler height is good. Spot on. Okay, that's the gauge back on track. And the car re-railed. Come on. Right, and for height on this end, we are also good. Which means the car is all set to move onto the track for a test run. Alright everybody, this concludes my review of the Piko Expert line. Deutsche Bahn T3000e articulated well car with the DB Schenker trailer and Maersk container load. The car itself was well done. It's got nice detailing, though it could have been done better in some aspects, such as having the airlines a different color, which is something I might do myself at some point. But aside from that, the car is running well. No coupling issues. It's running smoothly in the corners. And moving on to the trailer and container, the detailing on that I found was quite lacking, with the paneling detailing on the trailer being barely noticeable, even running my finger over it. You have to hold it at a certain way so that the light reflects off of it enough that you can actually see the detailing for the door locking mechanism. And by ways of the container, the corrugation of the side paneling was all painted on when it could have honestly been molded, in my opinion. But that being said, it's nice to have a car with a proper load from the get-go. Alright, and that is the end of this review. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe for more model railroad content. Have a great day, everybody.